Hey there movie lovers, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're boldly venturing into the final voyage of the original Enterprise crew with the 1991 sci-fi classic Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. Packed with political intrigue, interstellar suspense and emotional farewells, this film brought an unforgettable close to one of cinema's most iconic crews. But how much do you really know about what went on behind the scenes? So set a course for the final frontier, raise your shields, and prepare for 20 things you never knew about Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. After the failure of The Final Frontier, producers Harve Bennett and Ralph Winter went back to the drawing board, with Bennett developing a surprisingly bold idea. According to him, the proposed film would have explored how Kirk and Spock first met. The concept created division between Bennett and the original cast, with William Shatner revealing that it made him and the rest of them feel genuinely old. The project was shelved, though fans eventually got an origin story with 2009's Star Trek. And this marked the end of Bennett's involvement with the franchise. He claimed he was offered a substantial amount of money to rewrite the script and take it in a different direction, but he remained committed to his Star Trek The Academy Years concept. Chekhov actor Walter Koenig decided to try his hand at writing. He produced an outline for Star Trek VI that was even darker than the version audiences received. In his pitch, the crew had all retired except for Spock, who commanded a new team. When a xenomorph-like alien race seized control of Spock's ship, the old crew had to come to the rescue, with the brutal conflict leaving only Spock and McCoy alive. The producers rejected the idea and instead brought in Wrath of Khan director Nicholas Meyer. When Meyer first joined Star Trek VI, he believed he was only being hired to write the script. After Leonard Nimoy suggested the idea of the wall coming down in space, he became inspired by weaving in a Chernobyl-style disaster and developed the story with Denny Martin Flynn. Meyer was later offered the director's chair, partly to avoid tensions between Nimoy and William Shatner, whose contracts still contained a favoured nations clause. If Nimoy got to direct another feature, so would Shatner. And after the last film being a huge disappointment, that's not something the producers wanted. Money was tighter on Star Trek VI. Shatner, Nimoy and Meyer all accepted reduced salaries, while Paramount insisted the budget remain below Star Trek V's $33 million. Budget disputes became so intense that the film was shut down for several weeks. Nicholas Meyer reduced the proposed budget from $40 million to $30 million, but Paramount still rejected it and temporarily cancelled the film. Production resumed with an even tighter budget, forcing the team to improvise. A new modular bridge set was built to serve as both the Enterprise A and the Excelsior, with adjustable panels and lighting allowing it to double for both ships. Cost-cutting measures helped bring the final budget down to around $27 million. At the same time the Undiscovered Country was in production, Star Trek The Next Generation was thriving and approaching the end of its hugely successful fourth season. Due to budget limitations, Star Trek VI had to reuse sets from the show. This led to Michael Dorn, who played Worf in The Next Generation, appearing in The Undiscovered Country as Worf's ancestor, who defends Kirk and McCoy during their trial by the Klingons. According to Star Trek Movie Memories, Shatner's autobiography, tensions arose over Nicholas Meyer's decision to write the human characters as holding prejudiced views towards the Klingons. Shatner also objected to Kirk pleading with Spock to just let the Klingons die. He explained that he added a gesture to suggest Kirk did not truly mean the remark, but Meyer had it removed despite apparently agreeing to keep it. Also, Chekhov delivers the line, "Guess who's coming to dinner?" ahead of the Klingons' arrival, though it was originally written for Uhura. Nichelle Nichols refused to say it, objecting to its reference to Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, the film about an interracial relationship. Nichols felt the line was inappropriate for Uhura, leading to the dialogue being reassigned to Chekhov. In Nicholas Meyer and writer Denny Flynn's original draft, the personal lives of the core 7 crew members would have been explored. Spock would have played Polonius in a Vulcan version of Hamlet, McCoy would have become drunk at a medical gathering, and Kirk would have been married to Carol Marcus from Wrath of Khan. Elsewhere, Uhura hosted a call-in radio show, Chekhov became a chess player, Scotty taught engineering, and Sulu originally worked as a taxi driver on an alien planet, before being rewritten as a captain. Paramount ordered the opening to be rewritten, as the original version would have significantly increased the budget. During a tense dinner between the crew and the Klingon diplomats, Spock responds to a remark by Chancellor Gorkon with a reference to Hamlet. Gorkon replies that they have not truly experienced Hamlet until they have heard it in the original Klingon. According to Meyer, the joke refers to claims made by Hitler's regime that Shakespeare was actually German. Members of the Klingon Language Institute embraced the line, going on to translate Hamlet into Klingon. Mark Okrand had already created a Klingon dictionary before the release of Star Trek VI, giving them plenty of material to work with. Hamlet has since been performed in Klingon for charity, along with another Shakespeare play, Much Ado About Nothing. George Takei attended excerpts from both productions, while the Klingon Hamlet was also published in novel form. The production used computer effects to render Klingon blood, but the chosen colour caused a continuity issue. Apparently, the blood was originally intended to be red, but this would have pushed the film towards an R rating. Instead, the Klingon's blood was changed to a violet shade, despite it having previously been shown as red in several episodes of The Next Generation. The setting of the dinner scene was highly deliberate, with the Starfleet crew seated comfortably among familiar human place settings, while the Klingons appear visibly out of their element. One subtle touch sees Christopher Plummer's Chang awkwardly struggling with the use of a napkin. To enhance the alien atmosphere, the food was dyed blue, though the cast had little interest in eating it. Nicholas Meyer jokingly offered $20 for every bite taken, only for William Shatner to enthusiastically tuck in, and made sure to collect on the promise. Chancellor Gorkon, the driving force behind the peace movement, was deliberately designed to resemble Abraham Lincoln, an idea pushed by Nicholas Meyer. Writer Denny Martin Flynn even reflected this in the character's name, combining elements of Lincoln and Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. Given the film's strong parallels to the fall of the Berlin Wall and the collapse of the USSR, Meyer worried the reference might be too obvious, but test audiences failed to notice the connection. The trial of Kirk and McCoy is one of the film's most tense sequences, with General Chang aggressively demanding answers before translations can even be delivered. The scene was inspired by a real exchange during the Cuban Missile Crisis, when US Ambassador Stevenson pressed Soviet Representative Zorin for a direct answer about missiles in Cuba. Like Chang, Stevenson demanded an immediate response without waiting for translation. Casting director Mary Jo Slater tried to cast as many recognisable faces as the budget would allow. Among the smaller appearances was a brief role from her own son, Christian Slater, who pops up as the Excelsior officer responsible for delivering Captain Sulu an important message. Roddenberry and Meyer already had a strained relationship, as Meyer's more militaristic version of Starfleet clashed with Roddenberry's humanist version. When the film was close to completion, a seriously ill Roddenberry was shown a near final cut, and the accounts of what happened next differ. Some people present claimed that Roddenberry approved of the film, but both Nimoy and Shatner wrote in their memoirs that he was furious with it, demanding that a quarter of the scenes be removed. Sadly, he passed away not long afterwards. The film was dedicated to his memory, and Meyer later expressed regret that his relationship with Gene had ended on poor terms. While searching for a composer, Nicholas Meyer listened to numerous demo tapes. The director found much of what he heard disappointing, describing it as generic film music. Thankfully, he eventually came across Cliff Idleman. At just 26 years old, Idleman was encouraged by Meyer to lean into the film's tone rather than imitate Jerry Goldsmith or James Horner. Idleman secured the job by composing the film's main title after a single conversation with the director. Merritt Buttrick, who played Kirk's son David in Star Trek II and III, died in 1989 at the age of 29 after complications related to AIDS. While making Star Trek VI, Nicholas Meyer honoured the actor with a subtle posthumous tribute. David's photograph appears on Kirk's bedside table, while his death remains central to Kirk's resentment towards the Klingons and the plot surrounding Chancellor Gorkon's assassination. Will Wheaton had it rough. Not only was his character, Wesley Crusher, heavily disliked, but his first meeting with William Shatner was far from pleasant. A lifelong Star Trek fan, Wheaton approached Shatner, thrilled to meet his hero, until he spoke. Shatner bluntly told him that he would never have allowed a child on his Enterprise. After Shatner walked away, the rest of the cast gathered around Wheaton to comfort him. In its opening weekend, the film set a new record for the Star Trek series and claimed the top spot at the box office. The Undiscovered Country went on to gross a worldwide total of just under $97 million. The film's strong performance made it one of the major success stories of 1991. Star Trek VI earned 2 nominations at the 64th Academy Awards, receiving recognition in the categories of Best Sound Effects Editing and Best Makeup. Although it did not take home either award, the nominations reinforced the film's reputation as one of the franchise's strongest big-screen outings. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about Star Trek VI: The Undiscovered Country. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.